Welcome everyone to another video for Midian Gaming. We are continuing the series of looking through vampire cards from Vampire the Eternal Struggle card game, and just going over the cards that I pick out of the box and talk about them and see their use within decks. Many cards we may not have seen before, or maybe we see them all the time. I don't know. I don't know the meta that you play under, but let's get going with this, yeah? So I'm going to do the best with the name. Akhenaten the Sun Pharaoh. So this one's a mummy, a unique mummy with 3 life, 3 strength and 1 bleed. Costs you 4 out of your pool in order to bring Akhenaten out. Now Akhenaten can play cards requiring basic necromancy as a vampire with capacity 3. So this looks to be like a card that you would potentially base a deck around as well. Looking at this card, I would then go through a whole bunch of the necromancy cards and seeing exactly what this mummy could actually play with, and then try and develop some type of strategy around that in order to get the best use out of this mummy, as well as a bunch of other mummies or other allies. So yeah, this is quite an interesting one, and is a card that could potentially start off a deck idea to surprise your opponents in the meta that you're playing. They would never really expect something to come out, and be very wary about what's actually happening with your deck once you've brought this out, because there is no set playstyle. This one could potentially do quite a few different things. Could even do the ability to get cards out of your discard and back into your hand, because necromancy does that. All right, let's continue. Damage he inflicts is aggravated in combat with a follower of Set, and Akhenaten can burn himself and a follower of Set controlled by your prey as a D action. If he is burned, shuffle him into his owner's library. So yeah, he can burn himself to kill off a follower of Set. Understand that followers of Set are now also the Ministry, and they've just got the new deck that's come out. So this is potentially a very, very good card to bring out at a table, as there is a chance that Set could be on the table and you could be having keeping them honest with the fact that you could just burn one of their vampires or cause aggravated damage while in combat with them. Yeah, it is very, very interesting. I like it. All right, let's take a look at card 2, Akonan's Kolo. Now this is dealing with Laybon. I just took a Laybon one myself. Now only usable during a referendum, usable by a locked vampire. Title: put this card on this Laybon Akonans to represent the unique Laybon title of Akonan's Kolo, worth 2 votes. Not usable if there is any older ready untitled Laybon Akonans. Whenever this vampire is not a ready Laybon Akonans, or there is an older ready untitled Laybon Akonans, move this card to one of the oldest ready untitled Laybon Akonans, if any. All right, so this is a card as a modifier or reaction to give 2 votes, and it stays on them. This is crazy card. It's a very good card. Like, let's just go over this again, shall we? I just want to make sure I've got it right. Put this card on the Laybon Akonan, so you put it on them. Not usable if there is any other older untitled vampire. Whenever this vampire is not already Akonans, yeah, blah 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 blah. Yeah, gains a permanent 2 votes. This is crazy. I like it. This is very, very good. It doesn't say give the vampire 2 votes. It says put this card on the vampire, and they gain a title just from a modifier reaction. Yeah, good. I just haven't seen too many Laybon decks hit the table other than the one that I played in a previous tournament that we did. I like this card, especially for an Akonans voting deck. Pretty much, yeah, very, very good. No doubt we're going to see more Akonans cards come into viewership, whether they're going to be cards that you play or vampires that I cover at a later stage. All right, Alacrity, costing 2, +1 stealth. So Celerity getting a +1 stealth, but at the cost of 2. That's pretty expensive. As above, and if this action is blocked, this acting vampire gets an optional maneuver during the first round of the resulting combat. Look, there's a little bit of protection there when you really need the stealth and you're playing mainly a celerity deck, then maybe this is a go-to card. I would be very interested in all your thoughts in regards to whether or what you've found, whether this card actually gets played. I don't see it really being played. I'm sure there's better options out there. Most vampire clans are dealing with 3 different abilities. If you're really desperate for that +1 stealth, then maybe. Yeah. Not a favorite of mine, I will be honest. All right, let's go on to card number 4, Alia, God's Messenger. Unique Dampier with 2 life, 1 strength, 0 bleed. It's a shame that it doesn't bleed on this one. Now it requires at least 2 Gehenna cards in play. So there you go, Gehenna decks. Alia can play cards that require basic Auspex or Obia. As a vampire, she may move a vampire in your Torpor region to your ready region as a +1 stealth action. D actions directed at her cost an additional pull. Great thing about Alia is that the only cost is requiring 2 Gehenna cards in play, and there are Gehenna decks out there, or just decks that have random Gehenna cards in them. For a character like this, if I was basing a whole Gehenna deck type prospect, I would also be looking at what Auspex or OB cards I could make use of to actually have Alia in there. But the fact that she can move a vampire in your Torpor region to your ready region as a +1 stealth D action is fantastic. I really like that. You're not using a vampire to do it. You're not spending any blood or anything in order to do that either. And she costs nothing other than having 2 Gehenna cards in play. It's a very good card, especially if you've got a deck based off Gehenna cards. This, even a one of, would be very good, especially if you've got those 2 Gehenna cards in play. Yeah, this is a lifeline and could potentially be a game winner. I'm serious about that. Being able to bring out your big vampire out of Torpor because someone used like aggravated damage on it before it gets Diablerized, yeah, it's fantastic. No, very good card. I like this one. I might base the deck off it at another stage, but I don't want my opponents to know what I'm playing, so I'd have to leave it for a bit at least. Alright, Al's Army Apparatus, another Bruja card. I love Bruja. Alright, Master, unique location. During your minion phase, you may lock this card to search your library for a weapon and move it to your hand, shuffle and discard afterward. Look, the fact that you get to search through your deck and move cards is good. The fact that you get to build a deck, a weapons deck, and Bruja, they've got celerity, they've got potence. Yeah, you could be swords, can be guns, could be anything. This is a very, very good card for both those purposes. Not only going into your deck and finding the exact card that you need, but it also gets cards moving. You might lock this just to get a piece of equipment, just to throw it away in order to cycle cards. Who knows? Yeah. All right, let's keep this going. All right, Amaran, only usable by a vampire who can commit Diablerie, all right? And only usable when the opposing vampire should go to Torpor. Diablerize the opposing vampire instead, not usable by a vampire being burned or going to Torpor. So if you've got a deck that's based on that you're running around with enough votes that you can control a table and be doing damage in the process, you could be diablerizing vampires and taking control in that way. If you are not playing that, we missed out on a card, which I've got here next, I believe. Absolution of the Diablerist. It's a master out of turn costing you 1. So if you're able, whoops, where am I going with this? If you're able to get a vampire going into Torpor and you're able to diablerize them and get all the benefits from Diablerie, you could do Absolution of the Diablerist. Requires a ready Justicar or Inner Circle member, so thereby you've got a deck that has some controlling votes for sure, being Justicar or Inner Circle member. This card is playable during your minion phase, only usable when a vampire is about to be burned by a blood hunt. Cancel that blood hunt. So you can do your Amaran and you can use your votes to protect that vampire. If it is going bad against you, you might think of playing a card such as this. Now, yeah, that's all there really is to it. Like most card games, hand size is an important thing, and if you can always increase your hand size and have a card like this sitting in there and not affecting your initial 7 cards that you're normally playing with as a standard game, that's a good thing. So start looking at cards that also increase the hand, because it makes cards like this quite playable, and that whole strategy of diablerizing vampires. Okay, that's it. That's all I got for you. That was 7 cards today. You're all very, very lucky. All right, so what did you think of the video? Put it down in the comments. If you're liking this video and you like this series, give us a thumbs up. And the best thing you could do is subscribe. It's a second of your time. It's a lifetime of love for us. Okay, guys? Have a great one, and we will see you all on the next video. See you all.